Alright, Chad. This is going to be a little bit more rough video than usually. Like we are not even going to have like the animation in AXO. So this is the news. Yesterday, just in Anthropic reportedly sees a record of $13 trillion of revenue opportunity from AI. Investors are now positioning it to become the largest industry in history. This is from Polymarket, the Twitter account, from Anthropic itself. This is the thing. Just like first, we're going to go for parts. First, just for you to visualize, the GDP of the United States is 32 trillion dollars. So in this case, that will make Anthropic basically have how much 98%, 99% worth of the U.S. economy. Like, do you hear how ridiculous this is? I'm going to illustrate that more in a little bit, but I still going to make a point. So let's actually make the numbers. So do you want to see, like, if we compare this to the worth of, for example, Nvidia, right now the largest company in the planet and history. If we make these numbers at face value, that will mean and Nvidia will be 1.5% worth this Anthropic deal, for example, the largest company in the planet right now. Let's see with Apple. If we compare with Apple, is 362%, 1.3% compared to of Anthropic's deal. The GDP of China is $20 billion. So how much? Like 100 Chinas basically. So you see these numbers at face value, and you will be impressed. Like I have seen some of these, like this news forced me to re-enter Twitter, and this is a thing. This is a thing, chat. I have seen many stuff like people saying like, "Oh, this is so much money. How people can believe this is a bubble?" Or like for example, I saw one comment that genuinely blew my mind of how stupid this is. Oh, this is the first space, no global economy, space economy. You know, like space, like because this is the same amount of worth as the U.S. economy and the U.S. as a country, the GDP of the United States is all this like they are comparing in galaxies, a space economy, as galaxy economy. Do you understand how ridiculous this is? Like how much dumb is to think, oh, he's a space economy when we can't even go to space, you know, we can't even go far from the moon. Like, well, I don't know. Like, it sounds ridiculous. And the point why I say this is ridiculous is factors. For example, let's remind Anthropic's place. The you will say the closest the rivals on the space that let's remind us the market, how much market of the chatbots those Anthropic and the other AI competitors have. The biggest one is ChatGPT, and they own around 50% of the chatbot users. What does it mean? Like the whole, if you we cut all the people that use the chatbots, of those of the whole people in the planet, 50%, around 50%, 55% could be ChatGPT users. The second one is Gemini, around 14 to 43 percent of the users. Do you know how much Anthropic has of that market? 5%. 5%. Then we see the other numbers. For example, yeah, they have revenue. The revenue is smaller than OpenAI's. Like they have everything smaller than OpenAI. For example, they are still like, for example, here. Um, well, this is the list of ECI is profitable. I always say like don't use these numbers at face value because we don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's useful to use these numbers to like illustrate our points. OpenAI has invested $55 billion. I think this, of course, is going to be a larger number, but the revenue in total, ignoring the like if counting the investment, is 6%. 6% is $28 billion. For Anthropic, they have invested $43 billion, and the whole revenue is $6.5 billion. My point with why I think this is how small Anthropic is compared to OpenAI. Like, yeah, they are beating mostly all of them, but the thing is, like, most of the people use ChatGPT or Gemini. Cloud is the. I don't know if it's the third place, probably it's the third place to be real, but still, 5% of the market. So you see all these factors, and then you realize, well, how the fuck did this number comes up? How the fuck at $40 trillion of revenue appears out of number if they don't have the numbers, they don't have the users. Like, yeah, they have like the biggest difference from OpenAI to from Anthropic is Anthropic, they are betting more in infrastructure for companies. Corporate enterprising more than for example users of cloud, whatever. For example, I don't use cloud. I have more stories of my school people using ChatGPT. One of my professors, one teachers, she says that cloud is most expensive. And for example, like this is not like a subscription. They actually takes they you have to pay via tokens instead of subscriptions. I don't really use them, so I cannot say if this is true or not. My point is, Anthropic is the smallest. How the fuck does they see a record? And for example, if we believe their numbers that they have last year a revenue of $200 billion, of course, they are not counting the expenses they have and then making that number way smaller. But let's say this is in face value. How the fuck do you jump from $200 billion to being worth the same as the United States, to have the same revenue as the GDP of the United States? Do you know how much money does Apple makes a year? Around $400 billion. That would be like around how much? 0.03% of this revenue Anthropic is doing. Like, do you understand how ridiculous this is? No, this is not a space economy. No. And many people, this is not many people. This is the most frustrating thing. Like, that's why I don't stop using Twitter, because you see they're like most of the people are bots, because like you usually don't see. You know what is the word that they're using that is carrying this announcement? The word opportunity. What does this mean? This is they maybe will make that amount of money. Like, this is all, at least for me, this is all giving SpaceX flashbacks. Because remember, like one number I gave you is that they, based on the numbers of SpaceX, they will be making more money than Nvidia, like similar numbers in 3 years. And we see what happened. The APO opened and it went all down. So what is happening with Anthropic? Well, The same story is happening. The problem is, like, will it make more sense? Like, generally, it will make more sense for SpaceX to have this amount of money than Anthropic, low key, because you have the Elon factor. Like, people believing Elon is like a trillionaire, like a kingmaker, like a, the one character that everything that touches is gold, like Medias or whatever. Like, people think Elon is that. So you have the Elon factor. You have all these Twitter, XAI, SpaceX, Starlink, all these fusion of companies united to make that. And then Anthropic with a product, like I said, it's not the most popular, it's not the most used, and it's smaller, than compared to Gemini or ChatGPT or OpenAI. This number doesn't make sense. So it's clear they gave this big, ridiculous number with the word opportunity carrying it because their APO is closed. That's it. Their APO is closed. It's getting closer and closer and closer, and they have to enter. They have to enter the market. They have to, and they are by making this, like, for example, chat. I am having finances classes right now. Yeah, part of it is to make like better videos for this channel. Guess what, chat? One thing that the professors told me is that if people, like, companies make these type of things so people can buy, and like I said, you watch the Twitter accounts, the responses, and like I said, most of them are bots saying, "Oh, we have to buy, we have to buy, we have to buy, we have to buy." Yeah, they are preparing this, so everyone buy Nvidia, Anthropics when the IPO is open, and then when it finally opens and when it finally crashes, Anthropic has a little bit of bug. Of course, that might cause a bubble, for example. That might like hurt Nvidia a lot. But the point is, like, yeah, that's it. It's them preparing the public. Like, for example, why would they, like, let's use our thinking caps. Why would they make this announcement by opportunity? Would make this announcement when the deal happened? Like, wouldn't it hit harder and more undeniable? Like, I wouldn't be making this video. Like, this video would be completely different if they say, "Oh, we have a deal, we have revenue, this amount of revenue, we have it." But no, they say maybe there's an opportunity that maybe. Like, it's like if I say, "Oh, my pencil is worth $1 United States," but you believe it, so now you're going to buy my pencil via $13 trillion. It's like ridiculous. Honestly, it's like ridiculous, low-key. But yeah, like I said, SpaceX was the one that showed how this song is and dance is going to be related with the bubble, related with the OpenAI and Anthropic's APO. We saw it flop, and now it's Anthropic terms. They cannot back down, so they have to do it, and they have to do it big. So yeah, that's the news, guys. Sorry for the quality today. Bye bye.